Hi class, time for our next screencast for section 7.1. This is a great chapter because it has to do with the imperfect tense, and I love working with the imperfect tense because it broadens so much of what we can say in the language. Everything we've done so far has either been in the present tense or present progressive tense, or if it referred to the past, it was in the preterite, which is sequencing like events that have occurred in the past. But in the in the imperfect tense, which we're going to explore a little bit more this week, it allows us to now describe situations in the past as opposed to just telling this happened and this happened and this other thing happened. Well, sometimes you'll notice that in a lot of storytelling and whenever we're giving an account of something that occurred in the past, we're always setting the scene, right? We're able to describe what things were like first before something happened, and that's that part of the language that we're going to start to unlock this week a little bit more. So we're going to jump into vocabulary first. We have several slides that we're going to go through, and strong possibility that this might create more questions than give answers. And if that's the case, that's solid. That's good. Feel free to email me back or bring those questions to class, and we can use that to move our discussion forward and help you understand things a little bit better. I'd like to go ahead and begin. Okay, so the very first one, asustarse. Asustarse is to get scared or to be scared. Asustarse. Compartir is to share. Construir is to build. Obviously, looks kind of like the word construct, so that makes sense. Construir. Contar chistes, to tell jokes. Cuando era joven, when I was young, or as a child, or as a youth. The next several are a lot like this. You'll see this. You'll see a lot of these are very interchangeable, the next several coming up. So cuando era niño is like saying when I was a child as well. This is like when I was young here. This is when I was a child. So almost the same thing. Cuando tenía, like años. It's like saying when I was so many years old. So if I want to say when I was 15 years old, I'd say cuando yo tenía 15 años. Or if I want to say when she was 10 years old, I'd say cuando ella tenía 10 años. So you would obviously just be putting in some sort of a numerical value here. Okay. De chiquito. It's like saying as a youth or as a small child. De niño, as a child. De pequeño, also as a child. So these would be like things if I wanted to say de pequeño yo era muy bajo. When I was a child or as a child I was very short or something along those lines. These are little sentence starters, if you will. Hacer travesuras is to play tricks. Hacer travesuras. Pelear, to fight. Soñar con is to dream about. Soñar con. Trepar a los árboles is to climb trees. Trepar a los árboles. La próxima. Caerle bien is to like something well. All right, caerle bien, to like, or it can be dislike someone too. So, for example, if you say, me cae bien, I like her, or you could say me cae mal, I don't like her. All right, so to like or to dislike someone. Encontrar genial is to think something or someone was really great. Like encontré genial, right? I thought it was great. Fastidiar is kind of, we have the next several all have to do with liking or disliking things. Fastidiar is to annoy. Fastidiar, to annoy. Molestar is to bother. Odiar is to strongly dislike. It's kind of like saying to hate. And then parecer pesado is to seem boring. The verb parecer is to seem. Then pesado is another adjective in addition to aburrido that means boring. So parecer pesado. Me parece pesado. Seems a little boring to me. Parecer pesado. Okay, la próxima, next item. Let's take a look at a few of our slides for this week. So taking a look at, get this set up here for us. There it is. So it says talking about what you used to do or what you used to like using the imperfect tense. Notice it's different than what you did. It's what you used to do. It means like habitually over time. So kind of interesting what the imperfect tense will imply here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. Oh, I can move this up for you a little bit. Sorry. There we go. Okay, you already used the preterite tense to talk about the past. The preterite is used to talk about completed actions or events. To talk about what you used to do or what you were like in the past, use the imperfect tense. It may also be used to tell how old you were and maybe what the time was in the past too. You can go ahead and move this down a little bit here. There we go. We only have so much screen space, I guess. So example, yo tenía muchos juguetes. I used to have a lot of toys. I guess you could say I had a lot of toys, but it's meant to more describe what your toy stock situation was like in the past. It's obviously not an event. Okay, so it's more of a descriptor. Escribíamos cartas largas. We used to write long letters. So, for example, escribimos is we wrote long letters, but escribíamos is we used to write long letters. So, slight difference in terms of wording. All AR verbs are regular in the imperfect tense. There will not be any irregulars for AR verbs. The ER and IR verbs share the same ending, so you will see no differences between an ER verb conjugation and an IR verb conjugation. And all verbs have a written accent in the nosotros form of the imperfect, whether it's an AR verb or an ER or an IR verb, you'll notice that. So notice these 3 bullet points. If you need to, pause this in order to write that down and make a special note of that, I highly recommend you doing so, okay? But I'd like to move on to the next one here. Here we go. So the imperfect tense examples. So these are 3 examples of the imperfect tense: an AR verb in jugar, to play, an ER verb in tener, to have, and an IR verb, to write. So these are just 3 different examples. You can pretty much figure out their endings, right? Sometimes people refer to these as the abas and the ias because that's what their endings look like for so many people. So, for example, to play, jugar. Yo jugaba, tú jugabas, él, ella, usted jugaba, nosotros jugábamos, vosotros jugabais, and ellos, ellas, ustedes jugaban. So, I used to play, you used to play, he or she used to play, we used to play, you all used to play, and so on and so forth, or they used to play. So, tener. Same idea. So these are the ias, right? Notice that ER and IR verbs have these same endings to them. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, and ian. So regardless of whether it's going to be an ER verb or an IR verb, it'll always look that same way. So yo tenía, I had or I used to have. Tú tenías, you used to have. Él, ella, o usted tenía, you formal used to have, or he or she used to have. Teníamos, we used to have. Teníais, you all informal used to have. Ellos, ellas, o ustedes tenían. So you all formal used to have, or they used to have. Same idea with escribir. I'll go through this one just a little bit more quickly. So escribir, of course, to write. So yo escribía, I used to write. Tú escribías, él, ella, o usted escribía. Nosotros escribíamos. Vosotros escribíais. Ellos, ellas, y ustedes escribían. So those are the mechanics behind the imperfect tenses, the abas and the ias, if you will. So any AR verb will be the same. So cantar, to sing. Cantaba, cantabas, cantaba, cantábamos, cantabais, cantaban. If the verb is trabajar, to work, trabajaba, trabajabas, trabajaba, trabajábamos, trabajabais, trabajaban. As you can see, it can get a little bit interesting to pronounce over time. We're going to practice it a lot in class. Okay. La próxima. Here are a couple of irregulars in the IR or ER form. You'll notice that there are no irregulars for AR verbs, but here are 2 that exist for ER and IR verbs. So the verb ir, to go. Iba, I used to go. Ibas, you used to go. Él, usted, iba, he or she used to go. Nosotros íbamos, vosotros ibais. Ellos, ellas, o ustedes iban. So iba, ibas, iba, íbamos, ibais, and iban. For ver, to see, like I used to see, you used to see, he or she used to see, we used to see, and so on. Veía, veías, veía, veíamos, veíais, veían. Something you might start noticing already is that in all of these forms, regardless of what they were, notice that the yo form and the él, ella, and usted form were always the same, right? Iba and iba. Veía and veía. Coming down here, jugaba and jugaba. Tenía and tenía. Escribía and escribía. So obviously it's going to be of value to you to use subject pronouns more, or at least pay attention to who the subject that was already spoken about in the sentence or in the dialogue is, so that you can understand who it is we're talking about. That'll be something we'll probably be revisiting an awful lot during class. Okay, so that's the end of our slideshow for this. You're probably wondering at this point, do we get any extra credit this week or not? The answer is yes, you do. Got a new extra credit for you. On a note card, please write for me 5 sentences describing what you or your family used to be like. Used to be like. They can be physical descriptions, mental. When I say mental, I mean like in terms of your personality descriptions, maybe what your house used to be like, things along those lines. So give me a time frame and a descriptor in the past. For example, and please don't use mine. I'm just going to give one example. I'll say, for example, de niño, yo era bajo. Oh no, I don't want to use that one because it uses ser. Let me try another one. De niño, yo jugaba mucho. As a child, I used to play a lot. So I would write that down in Spanish. De niño, yo jugaba mucho. Underneath it, as a child, I used to play a lot. That would be one. Next one down, and so on, okay? So have fun with that, all right? We're entering some new and exciting stuff. We're going to be turning some corners with regard to what both we can understand and what we can do in the Spanish language, getting a little bit advanced here. So this is exciting. Again, if you have any questions, write them down or bring them to me. Also, same with extra credit. Highly recommend that you encourage one another to do extra credit. It'll help you get ahead. Also help boost your grade at the same time. Hope all is going well for you. Have a great day, afternoon, and evening. Ciao, hasta luego, y adios.